So for today, again, as I mentioned, we'll start with presentations to impress. So if you were here last week, uh, can you comment number one if you were here last week? And then if you weren't, if it's your first session today, can you comment number two? But if you were here last week, this will be a continuation of graphic design basics. So yung mga graphic design basics that we discussed, let's apply it to our presentations. After that, I'll talk about Canva's Visual Work Suite. So this is our new parang toolkit so that you can use Canva for your schoolwork, even later on for your office work. So we've introduced a lot of new tools and updates. And then later I'll do a demo. I'll ask you later what demo you like. And then we'll have our Q&A. And at the very end, my output din tayo. So I'll share with you an output for you to submit to your organizers. Okay, so mostly I see number ones and I see a lot of familiar names din from last time. But also, medyo marami ding number two. Okay, so lots of newcomers. So to the newcomers, hello, my name is Chris and hopefully mag-enjoy kayo today. Okay, so let's start with presentations to impress. Okay, so again, comment the following number that applies to you. Wait, let me start there after my message start. So comment number one if you think that presentation design is important for you. Comment number two if you think presentation design is just a bonus, parang good to have lang, cherry on top lang. And then comment number three if you think presentation design is not important. You can be honest. Baka sa tingin nyo, it's not that important. Okay, so far everyone has said number one, some number two. Okay, but mostly number one. So I think a lot of us agree that presentation design is important. And even if you don't agree, I think the following slides will will make some very nice points as to why it's good to have good design. Okay, so why do presentations need to be impressive? So I'll ask you na lang yung baliktad niya. How would you feel if, let's say, the lesson for the day was on a Word doc or on a document file lang, or nakasulat lang siya on a piece of bond paper, like text all throughout yung entire lesson plan, or para siyang transcript lang ng sasabihin ng teacher? How would you feel about that lesson for the day, that kung parang text lang siya? So most of you are saying you'd feel bored, you'd feel it's not engaging, you'd feel discouraged, you'd feel lazy to check it out, sabi ni Naomi. Sabi ni Naomi din, difficult to read after a long day. Ruskin said less engaging. Okay, so technically, kasi let's say that's the verbal, yun yung verbal communication, what you will be saying. And you can put it all in a piece of paper, you can put it all in a document, make it like a transcript. But, as students, it's so hard to get, or as teachers then, it's so hard to get people's attention. So that's why a presentation can be very important. Not only to get their attention, but to also drive your point across. Meaning, if you have a good presentation, your students, your audience will be able to better absorb what you're saying. The speaker is too serious. Okay, sabi ni Bernadette, if there's no design to the presentation. So to present is to communicate, and to communicate is human. Okay, so again, presentation, how we present things is one form of our communication. If you just said what you want to say, that's also communicating, but presenting it with your hand movements, with your visual aid, with the rising of your voice, that's a better way, or that's a way to improve how you communicate. And again, communicating is what makes us human. Again, so no man, I think we've all heard the saying, no man is an island. And it's very true. You put two people together, you put three people together, even if you don't tell them to do anything, they are going to communicate. Even if they don't talk to each other, they are going to look at each other, they're going to make body movements at each other, and that's what makes us human beings. Okay, and then sabi ni Quen, It's difficult to understand and remember the major points, especially when one is a visual learner. Okay. Uh, I think a lot of, sige, if you think you're a visual learner, comment VL if you think you're a visual learner. I think a lot of us really are visual learners. We like to learn by seeing an example of it, by seeing a video of it. Okay, so maraming visual learners dito. So let's put it into practice. Let's have a look at the following slides and then let me know in the chat what you think of them. So I won't comment muna. Let just comment what you think by seeing the following slides. So get this one. How does it look? How do you read it? What do you think the message of the slide is? Sabi ni Naomi, it hurts my eyes. If anyone wants to unmute, raise your hand and you can explain as well how you feel about the slide. If anyone wants to unmute, just raise your hand. Okay, I think medyo shy pa tayo this morning. Okay, so sige, chat muna. Sabi ni Naomi, it hurts my eyes. Sabi ni Erica, it's distracting, hard to read. So, can anyone type, what do you think the sentence is in this what do you think the sentence is on this slide? Do you understand what's written on the slide? Bees are wonderful and why? Okay. So everyone got that na it's bees. Or nahirapan ba kayo in understanding that? Because for me, to be honest, when I saw this slide for the first time, I was confused din. I was like, is this bear? Bear wonderful and here's why. Did anyone else read it that way? Bear wonderful and here's why. Okay, thank you Naomi. Sabi ni Naomi, siya din. Si Lenary din, siya din. Okay, so it's a creative slide. Don't get me wrong. It's a very creative slide. It's a very colorful slide. But just like what Naomi, Ruskin, and Lenary said, it was confusing at first. And what good design should make your message clear. Good design should reinforce your message and not make people have to think what does it mean. Okay, so this one it's a bit painful on the eyes. Maybe there's too many colors. Maybe there are too many background options, too many background patterns. And then the bees, medyo yun. It could be done more simply. So yan, sabi ni May, she initially read it as bear and then she had to autocorrect her reading. Yun. Pero effective, you can also do slides like this naman if you really want to test your audience's, let's say, critical thinking. Like, oh, parang to get their attention, to make them see what's wrong with something, you can also do a slide like this. How about this next slide? Ano mga initial thoughts niyo about this slide? Would this wake you up? Do you like it? How would you do it differently? Quen, okay, sige, Quen. Feel free to unmute and explain how you feel about this slide. Miss Quen, would you like to, I saw you raise your hand. Okay, I think my technical difficulty. Sige, I'll entertain muna yung sa chat. Too many texts, sabi ni Riodel. Sabi ni Davey Ditan, cannot read the text. Si Daryl, oh my God, yung font. Sabi ni May, it's text heavy. Sabi ni Charles, it's too wordy. Sabi ni Naomi, the white text blends too well with the background. Okay. Sabi ni Queenie, too many small text. Sabi ni Wency Rose, not following the 6-6 rule. Okay. Actually, I'm not familiar with the 6-6 rule, or maybe I know it by a different name. Wency, if ever you want to unmute and explain the 6-6 rule, feel free. Sabi ni Daryl, yun, nagbe-blend yung font color sa background, and yun, okay. Sabi ni June, the text is difficult to read. Okay. Sorry, Miss Quen, mukhang you're not able to unmute pala. Okay. Sige. To the organizers, if there's a way to unmute a speaker, let me know lang. But yun, okay. So I think everyone agrees that this slide is a little overwhelming, mahirap siyang basahin. I think none of us were motivated to read everything that's on the slide. So even though the background is bagay, kitang-kita yung river sa background photo, it takes away from the text, from the content of the slide. It make parang nagka-clash na sila. So this is an example of maybe a poorly layouted slide. One more. How about this one? So again, we have a relevant photo as the background, and then we have our text on top. How do you feel about this? So sabi ni Wency Rose, okay, so I think this is for the 6-6 rule. Include no more than 6 words per line and no more than 6 bullets per slide. Okay, ang ganda niyan. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with the 6 words per line and then yung 6 bullet points per slide. Actually, I would even propose up to 3 bullet points per slide. So later we'll talk about that, how we can maximize or how we can minimize what's on the slide. Pero thank you very much, Wency Rose Tan, for sharing that tip. Okay. Any other comments about this slide? So masakit sa mata, not compatible information overload. Okay, so I think same comments as the previous slide. I remember when I was a student, medyo maraming slides na ganito, and you know, it's not a bad slide per se, but there is opportunity to improve the slide so that it's easier for even, you know, even the students at the back to be able to read it. Okay. So, let's look at now the ay, sige, wait. Let's go back a little bit. The text formatting is odd, sabi ni Maria. And sabi ni Charmaine, the alignment is a little weird. So tama, if you can see here, medyo medyo weird yung pag-indent ng second paragraph. And then even this one, you have like this awkward space. So see, I think none of us read all of the text, but what we notice are these like abnormalities sa mga indentation and alignment. So you see how nakaka-distract when your design is not well made. So let's now look at the elements of a presentation. So every presentation has these 4 elements. First are your visuals. So these are the design elements on your slides. Second is your story. This is the structure of your presentation. And then, like what I'm doing now, the delivery. So how you deliver the presentation. And lastly, your strategy. So your impact and measures of success. So for today, since we're talking about Canva, I'll be focusing on the visuals. But later, I'll also give some tips on delivery. Okay, so let's talk about the visuals of your presentation. So when it comes to designing your visuals, it helps to think like a designer. So let's go back to what we discussed last week, na graphic design basics. Does anyone, I can't promise a prize, but can anyone remember the 4 components, the 4 elements of graphic design? If you remember yung 4 quadrants that we talked about, does anyone remember? I'll give a 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3. Oh, yeah, I guess si Daryl. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Daryl, very, very good try. Those are all under layout. Yung mga alignment and proximity, those are under layout, but those are not exactly the 4 components. And Evangeline, okay, text, color, imagery, and layout. Okay, mukhang may kopya si Evangeline ng slides from last week because she is correct. Okay, so we have your text, you have your color, your text, your imagery, and your layout. So we're gonna apply those same elements of design to our presentation. But I'm gonna share with you a couple more tips. So let's first talk about color in your presentation. Sige. Comment your answer in the chat. What do you call the complement of colors and using the difference of lighting? So what do you call this when you're using yung magka-pair ng color, yung complement niya? Sometimes complement means the opposite, so the opposite of a color, and then maybe playing around with the darkness, the lightness of a color. So I have a lot. I see some C's, color palette, and then I see a lot of B, color contrast. Okay, so it's a bit tricky, but if you answered letter B, you are correct. So that's color contrast. So contrast is essentially difference. It's the difference between colors. So having light shades and dark shades, or let's say having this color and then the complement of that, that's the contrast. So later we'll see how you can use contrast. For another question, how many colors maximum do you think is recommended for any slide in a presentation? How many colors maximum do you think is the maximum? Sabi ni Christine, 2 to 3. Okay, I think everyone's now answering 3. How about 4? You think 4 is too much? Di ba pwedeng 4 colors? Okay, so I think most of you are answering 3 colors. Kung isasagad natin 5. So, there's no hard and fast rule naman, but if you want a tip, our tip would be 4 colors max. And the combo meal that you can follow is 1 light color, 1 dark color, and then 2 vibrant accent colors. Okay, so that's the maximum. 1 light, 1 dark, and then 2 matingkad, 2 highlight colors. So here are some examples. Kasi when we say light and dark, it doesn't automatically or doesn't have to mean white and black. So you see here, yes, you can do white and black. You can even just do those 2 colors. You have your dark text on the light background or vice versa. Or you can introduce an accent color, let's say yellow, just to highlight certain text. Or this can be the color of like yung mga shapes, yung mga illustrations on the slide. And then your dark color, if you don't want black, if you think black's a bit too dark, too serious, you can do dark purple, dark blue, ganon. And again, you can do up to 4. So let's say you have your 2 accent colors na, let's say green and blue, very cool colors. And then you have your, let's say dark navy blue as your dark color, and then light. This light color could even be, let's say, cream, or very, very light yellow, or very, very light blue. So it doesn't always have to be white. So these are just some examples of color combinations you can use. And then I've shared this last time din, but if you want some more tips on colors, you can try going to canva.com/colors. Let me type that in the chat. And then we have some tools there that you can use. I suggest checking out the color wheel. It's just a very fun tool to see the relationship of colors, to see what colors go well together. And you can also use that for your presentations. And another color tip for your presentations is to use a dark background. So you'll notice my slides right now use a dark background. So we feel that it's easier on the eyes for the viewer. Hindi siya masyadong nakakasigaw. And then light backgrounds kasi they can steal focus from you. They can steal focus from you, the presenter. So again, dark background, it doesn't always mean black. It can be dark blue. It can be purple, any shade wherein, let's say, your light color, your light text can still be readable. So it doesn't always have to be black. And then you can still use a light background, but the way we like to use it is just to break up the presentation. So it's like imagine you're in a classroom, you turn off the lights during the presentation so that mas kita yung slides, and then just to wake up your students before the next portion, you can use a light background. So that's a nice way to divide your presentation. So you can use a light background for your intro slide, for your title slide, and then dark backgrounds for the rest of the slides. And here are examples of light backgrounds that you can use to transition between your topics. So yeah, so all of these colors, possible siya, you can use them. Okay, so that's my tips for color in your presentation. Now let's try out fonts or text. So we've talked about text last time. I've talked to you about serif font, sans serif font, display fonts. But what about this? What do you call these, let's say, sets of fonts? So for example, you have Open Sans Light, Open Sans, and Open Sans Extra Bold. What do you call these? So do you call this font and back? Do you call this font serif? Do you call this a font phenomenon? Or do you call this a font family? So we're talking here about like this set, this cluster of fonts. What do you call them? Okay. So if you answered letter D, font family, you are correct. So think of it like a family. So you have different members, but they're all related. Yeah, simple as that. Different members, but they're all related. So if you have, let's say, Arial, Arial Narrow, Arial Black, Arial Extra Black, things like that, that's a font family. So they're fonts that come with different weights. So yeah, so letter D, font family. And then, how about when it comes to size? What's a good size for your font? So, if you're using a word processor, Google Doc or anything, or even later we'll talk about it, you can use a minimum of 30 size font for your headline, and then you can do, let's say, a size 24 for your body copy or for your footnotes. A general rule of thumb when you're doing text is your main headline, whatever size that is. Let's say that size is 60. So, what I put, what's on the screen right now, that's relative. That's relative to how big your presentation is. But let's say your headline is size 60. You'd want your sub headline, whatever comes next, to be half that size. So maybe that would be 30. And then you want your body copy, whatever comes next in terms of hierarchy, to be half that size again. So maybe that will be 15. And then if you have footnotes or very tiny fine print at the bottom, you can half it again, and that will be 7.5. So doing that sort of half proportion of fonts gives you a good hierarchy. Okay, so let's put it into practice and compare the following slides. Okay, so here's a nice slide. I think I can say that it's a very nice slide. Um, do you agree it's a nice slide? How do you feel about how do you feel about the font? How do you feel about the amount of text, the alignment, the photo? Okay, sabi ni Frank, it's neat. So does everyone else agree? Does everyone else like this slide? What if I show you another version? How about it's okay, sabi ni Naomi, it's pleasing to the eyes. Maria likes it as well. How about this one? What we did was we condensed some of the text, we shortened it, and I forgot who mentioned the 6-6 rule, but I think this would adhere a little more to the 6-6 rule. We also made the font larger. So, sabi ni Bernadette, she can't read the text in the smaller font. I think with the second one, very, very small difference, but all we did is we made the font larger, and instead of putting 2 paragraphs, we just made it 2 sentences. Or if you wanted, you could make it 2 bullet points. Okay. So that's just an example of making your font larger, and as a result, you're also going to have to reduce some of that text. So let's delve deeper into that. So when you're designing your presentation, you want to maximize the fact that you have visual aids. So show, don't tell. If you can show what you're saying, if you can show what you want to talk about, show it na lang rather than writing it down. So if you have an image or an illustration, put it there because a photo is worth 1,000 words. So you can just put a photo instead. Okay, pop quiz again. Which is not an example of proper use of imagery and graphics? Letter A, overlaying a photo with a paragraph of text. B, utilizing clear space. C, turning words into diagrams, and D, using contrast in text. So which do you think is not um, proper or the best use of imaging and graphics? Okay, so I think everyone's answering letter A. So I think the best example of this are the first couple slides where you have your background photo, and then let's just put text. Let's just put a paragraph of text on top. So if you answered letter A, you are correct. Thank you very much. So let's see another example. So this one, let's say we want to talk about the health benefits of watermelon. So you did your research, you found information about the watermelon, and you just put all the text on the slide. Compare it with if we boil down that paragraph into one or two sentences and then added on the right side some colorful illustrations of the watermelon. Which do you prefer? This one, the previous one, or this latter one? So would you prefer this one without the illustrations, or would you prefer this one with the illustrations? Okay, so the second one, sabi ni Naomi, the first one feels TMI, too much information, like you're reading an article. Okay, yes, tama. And I mean, probably you all have encountered this na in learning about pedagogy, pero the downside as well of putting a lot of text on your slide is that your audience is less motivated to listen to you, because what they're going to do is they're just going to read everything that's on the slide. And if you're going to read what's on the slide as a speaker, then no offense, you could have just sent the presentation as an asynchronous lesson. But if you only put the main idea on the slide and then explain the rest in your notes or in your cue card, in your index card, verbally, then you give your audience reason to listen to you, to pay attention to you, to interact with you, because not everything is on the slide. Yun. If I think a good tip is everyone can screenshot a slide nowadays or take a picture of a slide. So try to give them information that they can't just screenshot. Give them information that they'd want to engage with. Another way, let's look at this. Health benefits naman. So same topic, but this time we boiled it down even further to the main key points and added an accompanying icon or illustration. So I think this is good. It's very clear. And then a way to make this even better, you have any suggestions? How could we make this even better? It's already pretty good, but how could we make this even better? Any suggestions? Sabi ni May, by adding color. Okay, maybe it's like you can see my next slide, because yes, what if you added color to those icons? So by adding color, you're capturing the attention of your audience, and you're giving each icon its own identity. So you might associate now this pink on the lower left with your heart, and then green, or maybe I would have made it blue, can help you hydrate. So comparing these two, it's not, again, design helps reinforce your message. So they both say the same thing, but by adding color, you're making it more engaging, and you might even make it easier for your students to retain. It might help in retention of the information. Okay. How about how would we improve yung mga earlier slides? So let's say you have this image that you want to use, and you want to add your text on top. Does anyone have an idea what's a good way to put that text and that image together but still make it readable? Sige, I'll wait a couple seconds. Maybe you have ideas in the chat. How can we put a photo, background, and text together but still make it readable? Sabi ni Quen, transparency. Okay, so I think you mean we're going to make the photo a little translucent, lower the transparency para hindi siya masyadong bold, medyo mas faded siya. Am I right, Quen? Sabi ni Hannah, adjust the transparency. Sabi ni Naomi, adjust the contrast and opacity. Okay, so I think we're all playing around with um, transparency. Sabi ni John, blur. Okay, that's a very good idea. We could blur the photo so that there's not too many details in the background that will affect the readability. Sabi ni May, in terms of layout, maybe sa baba or sa right side ng photo ang text. Okay. So maybe we're going to try to find like an emptier space in the photo. Or maybe the photo can take up just one half of the slide. Pwede yan. That's a good idea, May. So Riodel also suggested adjusting the opacity or the transparency. Okay. Sabi ni Franklin, I'll add a shape element between the photo and the text. That's a very good idea. So maybe we could add a shape on top, and then that's where the text will be very readable. Okay. Or sabi ni Quinn, overlay a darker color on the picture if the text is lighter. Okay, so essentially darken the background para mas lumitaw yung text kung white yung text. Okay. Everyone has very 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 good suggestions or very very good workarounds, and they are all correct. So yung sinabi ni May is what we call looking for the clear space. So if you're finding a photo, if you're gonna use a photo, try to find a photo that has some clear space. Maybe it's a sky, like on this one you'll see it has the sky, or this one maybe it's the water, or this one maybe it's on a table and you have some space around the object. So you can, if you find a photo like this would be really helpful. You can keep this in mind while you're looking for photos to use. Look for one where, okay, there's space where I can put text and it will still be readable. This is I think the easiest, best way to do it, because you don't even have to edit the photo anymore. You just have to work on the cropping or composition. So look for the clear space and then add the contrasting or the complementing color. So if it's white, maybe add black. If it's this light colored background, you can do black, or you could do a dark shade of green. And then, sabi ni Franklin, yung adding a shape element between the photo and the text is a great example of this. So if you don't have negative space or you don't have clear space in your photo, you can create it by using shapes, using backgrounds, using outlines. So this first one is what I think a lot of you suggested. So we can add a shape on top and then adjust the transparency of that, sort of darken the background, blur the background a little bit, and then put your text on top. So kita pa rin, you can still see the ocean reef behind, but the text still stands out. Or you can do, I like to call this Instagram story style. So you can add an outline or add a background behind your text so that it's just the text na readable. Actually, para tong subtitles. So if you watch mga K-drama or mga anything that has subtitles, ganito yung subtitles usually. You have the option na may background siya. Or you could add, you can add a shape below. So maybe split up your page, have a photo on one part and then your text behind the background, okay, your text on top of a background on another. Or baliktarin nyo, have the entire page with a solid color and then put your image in a frame or put it in a shape so that the shape, yung photo na lang is the one that is contained. So if you want to screenshot this, you can. I often, when I make presentations, then sometimes I forget how to make the text stand out when I have a photo. So these are 4 tried and tested ways that you can combine your photo with your text. Okay. So that is, those are my tips for text, for fonts. I hope you liked it. May, thank you very much. Looks like you enjoyed this part. Now let's talk about layout. Okay, so consistency is great. Consistency is cool. Who likes consistency, especially in terms of dating? I think we all like consistency. Whether it's in design, whether it's in our friends replying to us, it's good to be consistent. So let's look at this. Give me your guesses in the comments. So which text do we usually read first? Is it A, the font or the text that has the bigger font size? Is it B, the font, that's right, the text that is small and italicized? Is it C, the text that has the same color as the background? Or is it D, the one that looks like other texts? Okay. So I think unang option pa lang, you guys got it right already, that we usually see the font that has the bigger size. So you can use this principle in designing your slide. Make your headline big and bold, maybe even a different color. And then even in your body text, what you can do is highlight whatever. Example, you have a slide where you're introducing a new term, or you're introducing a scientific name, you're introducing a foreign word. You can highlight that in a bigger font, in a different color, by making it bold, and that will help your audience read that first. Okay. Um, that actually rounds up our four elements of design in terms of presentations. So before you present your design, one good tip I would suggest, yes, actually, Quen, it's another way to call it is eye tracking. So it's how you guide your eye, or how you guide the audience's eye in your design. So when you're done with your slides, sige, consistent na yung design, consistent yung colors. What you can do now is check your flow. So look at the story that your slides tell, and look at the colors as well. So example here, you will notice again we have our dark slides usually for most of the slides, and then you have your light slide as the sort of parang palette cleanser. So you have a light slide, a light colored slide to break up the topics and introduce a new topic. So you can do it this way. On Canva, all you have to do is click the little thumbnail button on the bottom right, so that you can see all your slides in thumbnail view. And this just gives you a good overview of how your slides look, the flow of your slides, and then it's very easy for you to just drag and drop the slides to change the order. So you can do that before you finalize your slides. Okay, now let's talk about presenting with Canva, creating your presentations in Canva. So who here has used Canva for a presentation? More importantly, has used a presentation template? Have you ever used a presentation template on Canva? Or do you usually start from scratch? Let me know in the chat. Are you team scratch, or are you team template muna? Okay, si Kirsten and si Rodel, template muna. Both, sabi ni Ashley. Sabi ni sabi ni Naomi, it depends on how much time I have. So safe to assume, but Naomi, na if you have a lot of time, you can do it from scratch, and then if medyo clutch na template, you can use a template to start with. Okay. So, yes daw, sabi din Naomi. Okay. So I think this is the great thing about Canva. You can make great presentations in Canva, but we want to make your lives easier. So you can also start with a template. Um, if anyone here is collecting, let's say, like say, yung Starbucks planner or any type of planner, di ba usually pag start of the new year, it's hard to write on the first page. It's hard to write on a blank page. Usually pa, you might start on the back. Does anyone else do that? You're gonna write on the back na lang and work towards the front, or you're going to start on the second page of the planner. So if you're like that, you know how difficult it is to start with a blank white presentation. Sabi ni Naomi, second page, she starts with the second page. Okay. So with Canva, you can search, let's say you have a topic, your topic is, I don't know, the digestive system, or you're going to make a presentation, a marketing presentation, or a sales report, or a SWOT analysis, or a thesis defense. Before starting from scratch, try searching that title, that subject, that topic in Canva. Maybe add the word presentation, and you will be surprised. You might be able to find a presentation template that already covers that topic a little bit. So that maybe the design, the colors are already bagay for that topic. And we might even have, let's say, like a table of contents there already to get you started. We even have educational templates like English lessons, Filipino lessons, or mga online meeting etiquette. So you can try out our, or you can search those terms and look for a presentation template to get you started. Let's say you found a good presentation template and you've customized it already. How would most of you present your presentations? Do you present it directly from Canva? Do you export it as a PDF? Do you export it as a PowerPoint? Or do you just send the link to someone? Sige, let me know in the chat. How do you usually present your presentations that you make in Canva? Okay, so some do it directly. Right now, that's what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm presenting directly from Canva. Pero yung iba would export it as a PDF. Pwede naman yun, especially let's say walang internet where you're going to present. You can export it as a different format, or as PowerPoint. Okay. But I would suggest to enjoy all of the features of Canva, yung mga keyboard shortcuts that I showed last week. It's best to present it directly from Canva. So if you click the present button here, you have multiple options. You have your standard. That's like your usual, next slide. Click for the next slide. You have your autoplay. So autoplay is great if let's say like, nung start ng webinar, you want to have a couple slides looping, parang repeating lang. You can set it to autoplay, set 5 seconds per slide, and then it will just play automatically all throughout. So maganda siya pang events, pang wedding reception, ayan, pang webinar, you can do autoplay. And then what I'm using right now is called presenter view. Is anyone else not is anyone not familiar with presenter view? Please let me know in the chat, or does everyone already use presenter view? Because what I'm using right now for my slides for the webinar is presenter view. Okay. So presenter view, ano yung A? is a I'll assume that A means you are familiar. Okay. So presenter view is what you would want to use if you have a sort of complex slide presentation, because it gives you like an advanced view of your slides wherein you have a timer to show you how long your presentation has been going for. You have a section here for your notes, so you can add a script here per slide. And you have sorry, hindi kita sa slide, but you can also view your succeeding slides and switch between slides easily. And then what happens is when you use presenter view, it will open up an audience window. So it opens up a new window, and then this audience window is what you will share on Zoom or share on Google Meet. So you would maybe drag this to you can drag it to one side of your screen, or if you have an external screen, you can make it full screen on that external screen, and then share that screen so that your audience doesn't see yung script nyo, it doesn't see yung mga behind the scenes, and you also can see what the audience sees using the audience window. So try that out. If you've never, let me know in the chat if you've ever tried out presenter view. It can feel a little complicated at first, but it's a great way to present your webinars or mga longer decks where you might have notes per slide. Okay. And then, okay, another tip before our first break is, did you know that you can record presentations in Canva? Okay, so if you've ever done this before, let me know in the chat if you've ever recorded a presentation. But we have this really cool feature called present and record. So it's just somewhere here on the upper right. If you click that, or even if you click present, it will appear present and record. So let me know in the chat if you've ever tried using this. So present and record is a great way to record yourself presenting your presentation. And then you can even um, download the video or send the link, and then people can watch you presenting the slides. So what happens is, if you click present and record, so that's me, it will prompt you to check your webcam and your mic. You can test it out. So parang studio before you start recording. So you check out your mic, check out your um, camera, and then this is what it would look like. So this is what a talking presentation looks like using the present and record feature in Canva. You'll notice it will record your video and your audio and put it in a small circle in the bottom left-hand corner of your presentation. If you've added notes to your slides, you'll be able to view these as you go through your presentation. So let's try it out. Presenting with Canva. Did you know Canva has presentation? Sorry, I was on mute. Okay. So that was a little the example of what a present and record file looks like. So you have a small circle with your talking head, with your bubble head, and then it will overlay on top of your slides. So even when you adjust, go through the slides, mag-a-adjust din yung parang annotation nyo or yung narration nyo. So you'll notice as well, if you do present and record, you have these little timestamps, yung mga dots. So that dot is every time the slide changes. So if you have a 50 slide presentation for your students or for your teacher, you'll see 50 dots. And it makes it very easy for you or for your audience to just jump. If they want to jump to a specific slide, they can look at the dots. You can even adjust the speed of we call it a talking presentation. You can adjust the speed as well. So parang YouTube video. If you want to make it faster, you can do that. And then, wait, let me just look at the comments. Okay, so mukhang it looks like none of you have used this before, except si May. Si May, mukhang nagamit na niya. But yun, so you can try this out. And then, at the end of it, you have two options. You can copy a link and then share it just like you would a YouTube video. So you just share the link as a sample by assignment kayo. You can just share the link, that's it. It will open in the browser even if you're not signed in. Or you can download the recording. It will flatten the file. It will flatten your little circle on top of your presentation. So this is great if you have asynchronous classes. Are you guys on hybrid? Do you still have asynchronous classes? So if you do, then you can if you're a teacher, you can do this. Have a talking presentation, and then your students can can go through it at their own pace. It's also great if you have unstable internet so that you can record your presentation ahead of time and then simply send the video, send the link, and then that can just be played during the event. So if you prefer pre-recorded instead of live, you can do that. And if you want to keep your links clickable in your video lessons, you can also do that with a talking presentation. So if you have mga hyperlinks, linked text, you can still click it in your presentation. Okay, that was a lot of information. Actually, I have a couple more tips when it comes to presenting before we jump to the next topic. But I think now is a great time for let's do it, maybe a 10-minute break. Let's do it, or 9-minute break. So if that's fine with the organizers, let's have a 9-minute break before we go to our next topic. So what I'll do, I showed this last time, I'll press the number 9 on my keyboard, and now we have a 9-minute timer. So I'll see you back here at around 10:53. In the meantime, the organizers, I can play some videos naman.
I think the pandemic has affected my job as a teacher.
I had to make a lot of adjustments,
which we didn't expect.
And suddenly,
we were pressured
to go out of your comfort zone, which is the four corners of the classroom, and do things you've never expected to have done in the past.
Marami po ako mga pinanood ng mga webinars. Isa na po dito yung webinar ng Canva.
Canva is absolutely making my job easier.
Kapag kakailanganin kong gumawa ng mga instructional materials,
lesson plans, activities,
Mga presentations at short videos.
Just limitless possibilities.
the templates. There's always something new to match what you need.
There are lots of animated pictures, stickers,
And it made my lesson presentation more exciting.
Ang Canva ang gumagabay sa akin upang lalo ako maging malikhain.
fun way to create lessons.
Halos nilalaro ko lang siya.
I can do collaborative activities for my students using it.
The students really feel like kasama pa rin nila yung mga teachers nila, tuwang-tuwa yung mga bata.
It has changed the idea that you cannot teach properly if you're outside the classroom. You can. I would still be using Canva even when students are allowed back into their physical classrooms.
Alam ko na ang Canva ay magiging malaking parte ng inyong buhay.
Check it out. Check it out.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat, beat. I gotta. Up that bottle, it's over. It's the end of October. Champagne on the shoulder. This is my exposure. Up that bottle, it's over. It's the end of October. Champagne on the shoulder. This is my exposure. Up that all night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls. All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls. All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls. All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls. All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls. Gotta
Ready to play? Play with your story, your style, your sound. Play with something new. Play with motion, emotion, the ocean. Play in the moment and with the moment. Sa Canva, there's always a way to make work look like play. Kaya tara, let's play sa canva.com.
I think the pandemic has affected my job as a teacher.
I have to make a lot of adjustments,
which we didn't expect.
And suddenly, we were pressured
to go out of your comfort zone, which is the four corners of the classroom, and do things you've never expected to have done in the past.
Marami po akong mga pinanood ng mga webinars. Isa na po dito yung webinar ng Canva.
Canva is absolutely making my job easier.
Kapag kakailanganin kong gumawa ng mga instructional materials,
Lesson plans, activities,
mga presentations.
there's always something new to match what you need.
There are lots of animated pictures, stickers,
And it made my lesson presentation more exciting.
Ang Canva ang gumagabay sa akin upang lalo ako maging malikhain.
Fun way to create lessons.
Halos nilalaro ko lang siya.
I can do collaborative activities for my students using it.
The students really feel like kasama pa rin nila yung mga teachers nila, tuwang-tuwa yung mga bata.
It has changed the idea that you cannot teach properly if you're outside the classroom. You can. I would still be using Canva even when students are allowed back into their physical classrooms.
Alam ko na ang Canva ay magiging malaking parte ng inyong buhay.
Okay, so is everyone back from the break? If you are back, can you comment? Oops,
Check it out.
1 second. Okay, if you are back from the break, can you comment, let's say, your favorite song from the Midnights album? Yun. Are there any Swifties here? Comment your favorite song from the Midnights album if you are back from the break. Anti-Hero. Okay, Karma. Bigger Than the Whole Sky. Pink Venom. Parang ibang artist yan. Would've, could've, should've. Okay. Snow on the Beach. Featuring Lana Del Rey. Sweet Nothing. Okay. So I think everyone's back. Sige. Maroon. Okay. I will give you guys the option. Would you like tips on presenting, like, preparing for a presentation, yung mga technical aspects? Do you want to know more about that? Or are you confident already about presenting and we can jump to the visual work suite na? Let me know. I'll leave it up to you. Comment, do you want more tips on presentations, like actually presenting and preparing for it? Or do you want to jump na to the visual work suite? Okay, sabi ni Kimberly, more tips. If no one else will answer, we will go with Kimberly and share a couple more tips on presentation. May, Visual Work Suite. Okay, 1:1 na. Whoever will comment next will decide if we will go to the work suite na. Okay, David said more tips. Visual Work Suite. Sige, para so that everyone's happy, let me just share a couple more tips on presenting and then we'll go to the visual work suite. Okay. I'll go through this more quickly na kasi I think a lot of you this pandemic know these tips already. So when it comes to presenting, my tips are to remember your lights, your camera, don't forget your mic, and your actions. Okay. So comment in the chat, what do you think looks more presentable? So this is me, but what do you think looks more presentable? A or B? And I won't tell you why. I won't tell you what the difference is yet. So most of you are answering B, and yeah, most of you answered B. You know what the difference was? Does anyone know what the difference was? Sabi ni May, it's the lighting. So tama si May, Christine, Crystal, it's the lighting. So if you'll notice, on the letter A, I had no light in front of me. It was just from my window. And then letter B, I had a light source in front of me to help illuminate the side of my face that was not facing the window. So that's my tip for you. Let's say you're working from home and you don't face a window, then you need to have light. You need to augment that light with maybe a ring light, a lamp, anything on the other side so that you don't have a big shadow here. If you work in front of a window, then great, you don't need that. You don't need that anymore. If you work against the light, your work behind a window, then you really need light source. You really need a light source in front of you. B looks more sharp. So actually that's true. So if you have more light, the webcam will pick up your face better because when you don't have much lighting, nagiging mas blurry, nagiging mas pixelated yung webcam because webcams are pretty low quality in general. So you need to give it as much light as possible to make it look HD. How about this one? Okay, so same lighting na. Ito, they both have a light source in front. Pero what do you think looks more presentable? A or B? So B, everyone's answering B. Why did you answer B? What's the difference naman this time? What's the difference? So the difference is, you're right, everyone's right, it's the camera angle. So you can have great lighting, but then if your camera is in the wrong place, then people will be watching your chin or your neck instead of your face. So if you have a laptop, you can maybe put your laptop on some books, maybe lift up your laptop a bit, just so that your webcam is a bit more eye level rather than, nakababa siya. There are some laptops, I don't know if any of you have this type of laptop. I have that type wherein the webcam is in the keyboard. So it's good for privacy, but then when you use the webcam, it's a very awkward angle. So you have to lift up your laptop to get a better angle. And if you use an external monitor, you would want to consider getting an external webcam and put it on your monitor. Because if you use the webcam of your laptop while you're using an external monitor, you're gonna lose eye contact with your audience. Okay. So we talk about camera. Next is sound. So just like this is what I like to do. I have a mic, a lapel mic. This was like 150 pesos lang online. You can get any cheap mic, even like an earphones mic, and just keep it close to your mouth to have really good audio. Keep it close to your mouth. Even yung mga wired earphones with a mic, those are really good too. And then, lastly, for action. So when you're presenting, you want to build your confidence by practicing. So there's no shortcut. If you don't practice, you're gonna be nervous, and your audience will be able to tell. But if you practice before your big presentation, this will make you more confident and make you less, because it's making you less nervous because you already know what to expect. Another tip is familiarize but don't memorize. So you can have a script, you can have notes, but I would suggest just knowing the talking points, knowing the main points of every slide, rather than reading word for word the notes per slide. Because one, it makes you sound monotonous, robotic, rehearsed. And second, it doesn't give you flexibility to mess up. So if you mess up and you're familiar with what to say, it's very easy to recover. But if you memorize word for word what you're going to say, and then you make a mistake or you forget a certain word, wala na. Medyo you've lost your flow. You might ask if you can start over again from the start because yun, memorize yung sasabihin nyo. And then, maximize your tools to interact. So just like now, I'm presenting from home. So I'm working extra hard to keep you engaged by using the chat, using the reactions, raise hand, unmute, etc. So maximize your tools for interaction. And Canva has some neat little tricks to maximize interaction. So you can use yung mga presentation shortcuts. So I'll go through these quickly since I talked about them last time. But for the newcomers today, know that when you're presenting directly from Canva, you can use a lot of fun shortcuts. So for example, yung timer kanina, if you press number 1 on your keyboard, it gives you a 1-minute timer. 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5, you get the idea, until 9 minutes. And then this timer, you can pause it, you can restart it, you can close it. So that's an interactive element in your presentation. Okay, did anyone, for the newcomers, is this something that you are today years old to learn? Let me know. You can also press B to blur. Oops, here. You can press B to blur your slide. Press Q for that sound effect and that little animation for quiet. O for bubbles. So this is great for young learners. C for confetti. You can press it multiple times for different types of confetti. And then D for drum roll. Okay, and I think that drum roll is a great segue to our next topic. So we've talked about presentations to impress. Hopefully, you were impressed naman by that.